Straight ahead on WBKB News at 11, state troopers asked for help today in stuffing their patrol cars to help families in need this holiday season. Plus, the community production of the Nutcracker began today and brought out an audience from all over Northeast Michigan. And a special presentation was given tonight at the Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary in light of the 100th year anniversary of the storm of 1913. We'll have those stories plus your local weather and sports. WBKB News at 11 starts now.
From Rogers City to Tawas City and all points in between, this is Northeast Michigan's award-winning news team. Your source for news, weather, and sports. We are WBKB News at 11.
Michigan State troopers asked for help in stuffing a blue goose today. Good evening, I'm Ashley Reed. As their winter charity, the police in Alpena like to give back to the community that they say supports them so much. Troopers were at Neiman's Family Market in Walmart all day long today, collecting new toys and non-perishable food items. All toys and food collected will go to families in need in Alpena, Alcona, Montmorency, and Presque Isle counties.
It's important that we look after each other. Times are hard right now. It's getting better, but we still have families and kids that don't have everything that they ought to have at Christmas time. And it's nice that we'll be able to supply some toys and some good food items for those families.
And in case you were wondering why they use the term stuffing a blue goose,
back in the 1950s is when we first started painting our cars this color. And back then there was a bus line called Blue Goose that had the same color buses. And troopers just started calling the cars Blue Gooses, and it stuck.
Troopers will give all of the items collected to the Vietnam veterans in Alpena who will be in charge of the distribution. Lieutenant Hahn says today was very successful and the community has been extremely generous. Another organization helping for the holidays, volunteers come back year and again to help the Salvation Army pack food boxes for needy families, and this year was no different. Today, volunteers came to sort through and organize the food and fill the boxes. 315 families will receive food for a nice Christmas dinner as well as staples to carry them through the rest of the week. This is in addition to the Salvation Army's Tree Angels, in which people can donate gifts to children in need. Joan Stoker says the week of Christmas is always a tough week financially for families.
Knowing someone cares enough about them to do this, to fill the food boxes, to donate the food, to take the angels off the tree, to buy the gifts, it makes a huge difference. It's not just the food and the stuff. It's also the thought. Somebody out there cares. There's good in the world after all. And that's why we do this.
There will be a distribution day next week. The families who applied and have been screened will be able to come by appointment to pick up their food boxes and children's gifts. There are still about 60 Tree Angel tags left for those who want to donate to help a child in need. All Tree Angel donations must be in by Wednesday of next week. Lots of toys and food collections, but the Alpena County Horsemen's Club is asking for the public's help in collecting bottles and cans. Today they held a bottle drive at the Alpena County Fairgrounds office. All proceeds will go toward another free children's carnival ride day at the fair next year. Today volunteers sorted through all of the cans and bottles, sorting them by company names. Last year, with a few other fundraising events, the club was able to reach their goal of $1,500.
This year, the Alpena Horsemen's Club can do better. I know our community can do better. We always feel the love, we feel the support, and it's not a better place to live in.
All bottles and cans will be turned into Neiman's Family Market. This year, the goal is $3,000. The fair will run August 12th through the 15th. This is an ongoing bottle drive. Bottles or cans can be dropped off at the Fair Board office, or you can give Konecki a call at 989-356-0071, and someone will even come to you to pick up your bottles. And people from all over Northeast Michigan came to Alpena High School today to enjoy the Sunrise Side production of the Nutcracker. The community production of the Nutcracker began in 1997 and runs every 4 years. This year there are 135 people in the show, ages 4 to over 70. This includes people from Alpena to Alcona, Rogers City, and Millersburg. Auditions and rehearsals began in August. All proceeds from the show benefit local nonprofit organizations such as Toys for Kids, the Sunrise Mission, and the Friendship Room.
Well, I think it's a great thing for families to come to. We have a narrator that tells the story, so even if you're not familiar with the Nutcracker, the narrator and a little girl narrator help tell the story for even our youngest patrons. And it makes a nice bonding experience and starts a great tradition.
More than $30,000 has been donated back into the community the past 4 times the Nutcracker production has run. Show times today were at 2 and 7. The show will run again tomorrow at 2. Tickets run between $5 to $10. And this year marks the 100th year anniversary of the greatest natural disaster in the Great Lakes history, the storm of 1913. And that storm was remembered tonight. Historian, artist, and author Dr. Robert McGreevy gave a presentation tonight on the storm of 1913, focusing on the ship, the Howard M. Hanna Jr. Despite the snow, people came out to the Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary in Alpena for a history lesson. McGreevy followed the Hanna's journey beginning in Lorain, Ohio, and ending off in the tip of the thumb in Lake Huron.
There were 25 ships that sank in this storm, if you can imagine that. But this one ship, the Howard M. Hanna Jr., was almost a twin to all the ships that sank, but the difference being the whole crew survived. So we have their eyewitness accounts of what it was like being out in the storm that night.
These survivors' accounts of what happened has allowed historians to piece together what must have happened to all of the other ships that night. The names of the 8 ships that sunk in the area were read out loud, along with the number of crew members that were lost. And the actual bell from the Hanna was rung for each one. The storm of 1913 killed more than 250 people and destroyed 19 ships. Well, coming up next on WBKB News at 11, yesterday was the preliminary hearing for 2 men accused of murdering a University of Michigan student. Plus, if you're a Beatles fan, you should be excited to hear how many rare recordings are going on sale for the first time this week. Thanks for joining us. In state news, a judge ordered that 2 men will stand trial for the murder of University of Michigan student and Schoolcraft native Paul DeWolf. Shaquille Jones and Joey Jordan were in an Ann Arbor court for their preliminary hearing yesterday. Some of DeWolf's family and friends sitting in the courtroom in Ann Arbor stepped out as there was testimony from the coworker and fellow medical school student that first found his body. Coworker Ashley Stasiak says they opened the door and saw DeWolf on the ground lying in a pool of blood. A window in his home was still ajar. The prosecution laid out its case against Jones and Jordan with testimony from more than 20 witnesses. One man, Michael Robertson, says Jones and Jordan were at his house and talked about the break-in. They told him they were watching a house, and when they went back, DeWolf was there. He woke up startled, and a tussle with a gun led to the gun going off. But on cross-examination by Jordan's defense attorney David Goldstein, the questioning turned contentious. Detectives also testified Jordan's fingerprints were found in the windowsill of the house next door to DeWolf's, where a MacBook was stolen that the prosecution says Jordan and Jones later sold. In your Money Watch, this could be the week the Federal Reserve finally gives a timetable for tapering off its economic stimulus program. The Fed kicks off a 2-day meeting Tuesday, but most analysts believe the central bank will wait until early next year to start scaling back, after Ben Bernanke's term is up as Fed chairman. The U.S. Senate is expected to vote this week on Janet Yellen's nomination to head the Federal Reserve. Top Democrat Harry Reid says the Senate won't vote until after it takes up a defense bill on Wednesday. And Beatles fans rejoice, 59 rare Beatles recordings will go on sale this week for the very first time. The tracks were previously only available as bootleg recordings. Among the songs to be released on iTunes are alternative versions of She Loves You and There's a Place, as well as studio outtakes and live performances. Well, gas prices are continuing to drop. GasBuddy.com and AAA of Michigan put together state and local gas prices. The highest price for gas in Alpena is coming in at $3.14 at Standard Express. That's almost 10 cents less than last week. The lowest is $3.13 at Murphy USA. Across Michigan, the highest gas price is $3.67. That's in Drummond Island. And the lowest price is coming in at $2.82 in Flint. There's still much more to come on WBKB News at 11. Jeff Kolb will be in with a look at sports. And is the snow going to continue falling? I'll be right back with your weather forecast. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's time now for a look at your weather forecast. Today the high was 20 degrees, the low was 6 degrees. Normally for this day the high is 32 degrees, the low is 19 degrees, so we were quite a bit cooler than average temperatures. Record high was 61 degrees, that was back in 1975, and record low was 3 below, that was back in 1943. Sunrise this morning was around 8:05 and sunset this afternoon around 4:53. And taking a look at the current conditions here in Alpena, currently it's 19 degrees, but with that east-northeast wind around 7 miles per hour, it really feels like about 12 degrees outside. Taking a look at our satellite and radar, you can see that most of this snow coverage has gone past us. However, we do have some splotches coming in over from the northwest. We saw quite a bit of snow accumulation today, up to around 6 inches here in Alpena. So that's going to continue throughout the night, not quite as much as we saw today, but we will see some snow showers, and then a low of 14 degrees, northeast winds around 10 miles per hour, and then that snow will continue into tomorrow, possibly new accumulation up to 3 inches, high of 19 degrees, north winds around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And looking into tomorrow night, we do have a chance of snow showers. It's really going to get cold, drop down to a low of 2 degrees, possible wind chills of about 9 below, and then north winds around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And taking a look at the week ahead in our extended weather forecast, we can see that Monday is going to be a 30% chance of snow showers. That's after 1 p.m. Wind chill values as low as 9 below, but you see that high is 21 degrees, and then it's going to be mostly cloudy with a chance of snow showers throughout the rest of the week. We are going to reach a high of 31 degrees on Tuesday, drop down to a low of 9 degrees on Thursday, and then Friday we should expect to see temperatures around 31 degrees for the high and 24 degrees for the low. And now time for today's photo of the day. Today's photo was sent in by Norm Schillerstrom. Norm sends us this photo of the sunrise yesterday in Alpena. He captured the sunrise at the Blair Street Pier. So many different beautiful colors there. Thank you, Norm, for sending us this photo. If you have a photo you would like to send us, just email a photo along with a short description to news@WBKB11.com. In your Health Watch, the Centers for Disease Control says abuse of prescription drugs may be the #1 cause of accidental death. That's why the American College of Physicians has new guidelines for doctors and their patients. The ACP recommends doctors screen for risk of addiction and that patients agree in writing to do as their doctors recommend. Patients should also know that drugs do not eliminate 100% of the pain. The organization wants monitoring programs so patients can't cross state lines for multiple prescriptions. The CDC also reports just 40% of Americans have had their flu shot this season. Doctors are urging more people to get vaccinated. About 35,000 people die annually from the flu. In a new study in The Lancet says a drug to prevent breast cancer in high-risk patients is a big success. Researchers say anastrozole, brand name Arimidex, is more effective than current treatments and has far less serious side effects. It helps postmenopausal women eliminate estrogen production. That's important because the more estrogen you have, the greater risk of developing estrogen-related breast cancer. In national news, a fast-moving winter storm is blanketing much of the central and eastern U.S. with snow tonight. CBS's Susan McGinnis takes a closer look at the impact of this wintry weather.
From the Midwest to New England, it's a Saturday of snow. As residents in Chicago dug out from up to 6 inches of the white stuff, drivers just west of the Windy City got a big surprise. All lanes on Interstate 80 shut down for more than 4 hours after a semi-truck overturned on the slippery surface. The storm moved into the Northeast Saturday night, dumping 6 to 12 inches in New England.
But we do expect a significant storm tonight. Fortunately, the heavy snow is supposed to hit sometime between 11 and 3 a.m. where we expect there to be very light traffic on the roads.
Officials in Massachusetts have seen this many times before and prepared to use several thousand tons of salt. Meanwhile, airports across the nation also got hit hard. Nearly 1,000 flights were canceled Saturday, with some of the heaviest disruptions in the New York area. Yet, despite the wintry weather making a mess, many people still went about their way.
You know, I guess we should be home like everyone else, but I have to finish my shopping.
After all, just 10 days to Christmas. Susan McGinnis, CBS News.
The storm system should move out by tomorrow night. Well, sports is coming up next, but first, Jeff Kolb is here with a preview of what's ahead. What do you have for us, Jeff?
One Alpena High School sports team you may not have even known about with a great day today. I'll show you who I'm talking about. And there was hockey, and more hockey today. Wildcats, Street Cats, Red Wings highlights, and more as the news continues here on WBKB. Success at home is key in all sports, but few teams face as much pressure to make the most of being home as the Alpena High School figure skating team. The Wildcats opening their season today with what effectively was also their senior day. Today's performance being the first of 3 regular season meets and the only one at home for Alpena this season. 5 opposing teams visiting Northern Lights Arena for this morning's meet to take on this year's group of Wildcats, which is a tight-knit one. 4 of Alpena's 5 skaters are seniors, but while the Cats are determined to have fun, the team knows it needs to step up every chance it gets to compete to reach its ultimate goal.
Each meet is very important because we only have 3 of them, so this is like a third of our scores, and so if we want to go to states, we have to be good every single meet.
We have a lot to work on next Thursday when we get back on the ice. I think just consistency. We're able to get most things done when we need to, but sometimes things don't go off as planned, and we need to make sure that every time you do an element, it's the way it needs to be.
Having a home meet is not only big for the current Wildcats, but an important part of Alpena's effort to grow its program going forward.
We have a really big crowd this year, more than normal, and lots of our friends came, and to have that support's really great.
We like to hold more events here for figure skating. So getting the news out there and letting people know that we're here and we have a high school team may pique the interest of some girls or boys who are skating that don't know about it.
And it was a successful day for Alpena as the Wildcats earned 5 silver medals and are currently in 3rd in the district out of 6 teams, meaning if the season ended today, Alpena would be heading to states. Now on to Alpena's other sport on the ice, hockey. The Wildcats looking to bounce back from a tough loss last night. Alpena taking on Midland. Reed Hamp getting the Cats off to a good start. He had a goal earlier here in the highlight. Now you're seeing the Chemics with one of their goals, and then a scary moment here. Jesse Ballore almost putting an own goal in the net, but in the end, Alpena throttling Midland 6-2. After the Wildcats, the Street Cats taking the ice against the Hounds. In the first, Vladislav Kosanov stealing the puck, but unable to put it in the net for Alpena. In the other net, Alexander Shishkin doing a fine job to stop this shot right here by Tyler Thurlby, but later Traverse City with a man advantage and taking advantage. Scott Luca putting the Hounds up 1-0. This game still in progress. At last check, Alpena trailing Traverse City 3-1 after 2 periods. The Penguins visiting Joe Louis Arena tonight. First period, Nicholas Cronwall welcoming Pittsburgh with a 1-0 deficit. But later in the period, Sidney Crosby doing what he does best, his power play goal, tying the game right back up. Then another dangerous Penguin flashing his skills, Evgeny Malkin on the goal to make it 2-0. And the scoring did not stop there in the second. Oli Mata getting the puck in the net as the Penguins rout the Red Wings 4-1. From the ice to the mat, the Alpena wrestling team traveling to Caro today for a tournament. RJ Centella taking first place individually at 145 pounds. Dakota Patterson finishing 5th at 160. And Felix Sushek taking 4th in the heavyweight division. The Oscoda wrestling team going 1-4 today at Farewell, getting a 42-33 win over Pinconning. Josh Ward going undefeated on the day for the Owls, with teammates Amber Jackson and Austin Polland each earning 4 wins. Whittemore Prescott taking 13th place out of 18 teams at the Hemlock tournament. Mike Arndt taking 3rd at 162. Frank Thayer finishing 4th at 215, and Dakota Finlay 6th at 145. Number 25, Michigan taking on top-ranked Arizona. First half, Spike Albrecht, good from 3. He puts the lead to 9 points, or the Wildcats, rather, would lead by 9 points, or trail the Wolverines by 9 points at the break. Then Glenn Robinson, the third, the slam right here. He finished with a game-high 20 points, but Arizona would charge back. Fab freshman Aaron Gordon to Brandon Ashley for the jam, cutting Michigan's lead to 2. Then Rondé Hollis Jefferson right here is going to get 3 the hard way. The Wildcats denying the Wolverines an upset, 72-70. Michigan State facing Oakland at the Palace. Andre Drummond in the house, as you can see right there. First half, Grizzlies thinking upset. Travis Bader hitting the 3 on the run. Oakland up 8-6. After the break, Brandon Dawson getting the lead back for the Spartans with that nice jam, putting Michigan State up by 1, but Oakland not done. Duke Mondi, the three with a hand in his grill. We're tied up at 50. MSU just not feeling the upset, though. Adrian Payne, the nice dime to Dawson. Spartans hold on and win in Detroit 67-63. And wrapping up with some college football news, the Heisman Trophy awarded tonight. Florida State freshman quarterback Jameis Winston getting it. He's 19 years old. Just an unbelievable accomplishment for him.
What an accomplishment for a 19-year-old freshman.
Absolutely, and with all the things that he was dealing with this, this sexual abuse case that he was not found guilty for. So quite an accomplishment. Pretty amazing how young these kids are winning these Heisman trophies. So.
All right, well, coming up next on WBKB News at 11, a California high school basketball player wasn't going to let anything stop him from playing the game he loves. That inspiring story when we return. Thanks for joining us. A high school basketball player from California is doing something you may not have ever seen before. Crystal Cruz is in Paris, California to show us why he's so unique.
Joe Richard has all the right moves.
You know, I love playing basketball. I just want to be out here so much, no matter what.
The 17-year-old has exactly what it takes to play varsity basketball at Paris Citrus Hill High School in the Inland Empire.
Joe has a great motor. He's always on the run, always moving. He never stops playing.
Short.
The kid is just remarkable.
At first, they don't know until they get really close to me. Then I get a lot of compliments like, oh, wow, like, I didn't notice it at first, but you're really good.
At 15 months, Richard's ankle and foot were amputated. Camilla Wright's baby came home with a cast.
I did it at a young age so he can grow up with it and be used to it instead of prolonging it. But that was a very difficult, probably the hardest decision I've ever made.
Richard was born with tibial agenesis. His tibia didn't form correctly. He was also born with a passion to play ball.
Playing basketball, Joe was 1.5 right there.
Look at him now rocking the court, making 17 rebounds in Thursday night's game when the average player makes 10. He also makes good grades and has a 3.5 GPA.
I told Joe the sky's the limit. Just stay focused. If it's something that you want to do, just stay on it.
The way Richard plays ball, you would never know he has a prosthetic leg, and that's not what he wants you to focus on anyways. Instead,
if you're amputated, then you should still do what you love.
Well, what an inspiration.
Absolutely.
You watch him and you can't even tell that he has a prosthetic leg. I think it really shows you that even if you have a disability, you can overcome the odds.
Yeah, it just shows, I mean, so often we just, kind of put sports on the back burner. Obviously there's so many more important things going on in the world.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It can really show us, how strong people can be. That's
Definitely.
what sports can bring out in people.
Very inspirational story.
Really great story there. And remember, you can read more about our broadcast stories and get the scoop on more news items online.
Just visit WBKB11.com for sports, weather, and news updates anytime, day or night.
Or add us on Facebook at facebook.com/WBKBTV.
That's all we have for you tonight, but be sure to tune back in tomorrow night at 11. Jeff Kolb and I will both be back right here. Have a great night.